Previously, on our Parisian-inspired Cities Skylines 2 series, we set out to build the world's largest roundabout, a modern take on L'Étoile, which means the star, with 12 grand avenues radiating from the center. We kick things off by laying down our own Champs-Élysées, anchoring the city with iconic Parisian flair. We brought the green heart of Paris to life with stunning French gardens and crowned our skyline with the landmark Notre Dame Cathedral. Arrondissement by arrondissement, we've completed the first, second, and third and made major headway into the fourth, all circling the heart of our experiment. Can this massive roundabout actually work as a real intersection? So far, the city's grown to nearly 65,000 residents, the traffic's building, and the stage is set for our grand finale. Today, we finish what we started. The fourth arrondissement gets its final touches, and we'll build the entire fifth, packed with unique features unlike anything else in our city. Will our Parisian-inspired L'Étoile become a masterpiece of city planning or the world's most beautiful traffic jam? Let's find out. My name is College Builder, your friendly college dean who plays Cities Skylines 2, and this is my French city, Ile-du-Carrefour. The problem is that cracks are already appearing in our street and bus system as traffic has increased in and out of the city. At peak times, a major backup extends all the way down our version of the Champs-Élysées. Let's reconfigure this area, building a new divided boulevard and relocating the mailbox so that the mail vans don't slow things down. We should also remove unnecessary crosswalks. Next, we'll provide a bus route to the university. Using the bus line tool, we can drag our existing crosstown line up to the new stop. The bus station in the fourth arrondissement has 4 connected routes, but the buses keep getting in each other's way, causing inefficiencies and delays. Having the station on the side road seemed like a good idea, but in this case, we can move it to the main road. All our bus routes at the station flow in the same direction, so they will no longer cross in front of each other. Each of these steps will help a little with delays and bottlenecks, so we can start adding more citizens. Some traffic solutions come from big changes, such as widening roads, adding new bypasses, or creating new public transport. But right now, we are looking for minor tweaks because our city is constrained by its historic structure, and I want to see how many fixes we can find without adding a metro. But these small fixes will not be enough. Let's keep an eye on the roads as we build. Traffic is flowing for now, but there's a new challenge. Where do 66,000 stressed commuters go to decompress? These dense blocks need secret escape routes that won't mess up our traffic system. Can we squeeze hidden parks into impossible spaces without breaking everything we just fixed? Let's see if it works. We have a park in the middle of this area for practical reasons. The citizens want leisure time. But I think we can hide it away, making it a place that only locals will know. Extending out the pathways creates something a bit more original than the base game park. Surrounded here by mostly medium-density residential, this little park is definitely off the beaten track. Once the buildings are in place, we can expand our grassy area to form a unique park shape. And finally, add some cobblestone to create a smooth transition from the alley to the park. Placing a few trees helps to give the park a secluded look. Creating these hidden parks and strengthening walkability help the neighborhood feel complete and give one less reason for citizens to get in their cars. Saving your city from traffic is not always about road fixes. It's also about the cluster of residences, services, and leisure opportunities. Remember, Paris has a plan to be a 15-minute city where your daily needs and services are within a 15-minute walk or bike ride from your home. Our own Paris-inspired city has similar grand aspirations for its urban planning. This particular neighborhood has its schools, clinics, and jobs. The first park provides some leisure close enough to walk to. But I think we can add one more, even more hidden away. This park will be tucked into a very small empty spot between buildings. The alley access will actually go through the buildings while we have anarchy turned on. To enter the secret garden, we will suppose that local residents need a key or code access to get through the gates. Homework assignment. Tell me how you would hide a park in your city. Turns out these hidden parks are doing their job a little too well. Word's out and suddenly everyone wants to move into our 4th arrondissement. That means more people, more cars, and more pressure on our streets. To keep this neighborhood livable, we need to level up our infrastructure. Step 1, green up the boulevards with trees, making the main roads as beautiful as the parks. Step 2, expand our avenues and side streets so the city can actually handle this population boom. The trees are actually an easy addition and something we could have done a long time ago. Paris is a city filled with trees, particularly along its boulevards. To add the trees and keep them looking random, I am using Anarchy plus the advanced line tool so that the trees will automatically rotate. These trees look great, but do you think they'll actually help with the traffic flow or just make the congestion prettier? Now, let's expand our road network, building out the boundaries of both the 4th and the 5th arrondissement. To handle the volume of traffic we expect, we widened this boulevard to 4 central lanes, and now let's connect it to our national highway. This junction will be an important extra route in and out of our central roundabout. At long last, it's time to build the boundaries of our 5th arrondissement. In our fictional Parisian-inspired city, this is the last administrative district to directly touch the star. The wide boulevards will demarcate the outer edges and help us see what we are building towards. We will finally complete the roads of our most unique boulevard, something that will be truly special in the city. Since we have so many intersections close together, let's just take a moment to make sure there are no left-hand turns on the side streets. With all our dividing roads in place, it's now clear that the 4th arrondissement is way too big. Let's make a slight adjustment to our districts. We should add another Parisian-style landmark to the city, perhaps the Botanical Gardens. Our 3rd arrondissement has Notre Dame, so this is the perfect showpiece for the 4th. Unlike our hidden parks, these gardens are public and face a main boulevard. They actually remind me a bit of the Grand Palais in Paris. All we need now are new citizens, offices, and shops to test these new roads. Class, it's time to say bonjour to the future crown jewel of the 4th arrondissement, our very own Botanic Garden. This isn't just a spot of green, it's a landmark. Working in this area draws our attention to the many empty pieces of land near the center, spaces that would be ideal for additional pocket parks. I don't want to distract from building our botanic gardens, but we should not ignore these little vacant plots. The key is to help them blend in. We can remove their default surface and add our now recognizable cobblestone underneath. There is much more to finish in the center of the star, but for now, we'll continue adding new buildings and bringing in new citizens to the heart of this neighborhood. As we've seen throughout our Parisian-inspired city, filling in these corners with sharp angles can be very tricky. However, it can also be very rewarding. Much like the gaps around our inner circle, these little spots offer the chance for interesting detail, filling in the spaces with cobblestone and trees. These tiny nooks are a great contrast to the grandeur of the Botanic Gardens that will define the neighborhood. One of the fun things about the city, Ile de Carrefour, is that both the big and little projects have been equally as fun and important to defining its Parisian look. So we filled in some of the surrounding blocks, but now let's return to the Botanic Gardens, adding some paths to the base game asset and expanding the space around it. The paths will help it feel more connected to the roads, but also give pedestrians extra places to walk that are not right up against traffic. Let's also expand the grass surface that comes with the asset, making it feel much larger than the original. In truth, we could have made it even larger, but it already has a significant presence in the 4th arrondissement, and we want to maintain the feeling of a dense urban area. Now is a great time to check the data. Our tourism info shows a very high level of attractiveness, which is great since we are creating a city that is itself a tourist attraction, much like the real Paris. Paris consistently ranks among the most visited cities in the world, and that is how we want our city to feel. My hope is that as Cities Skylines 2 expands the tourism mechanics in the game, we will get more hotel options, including some Parisian ones. For now, let's continue filling in the blocks around the gardens. The beautiful wall-to-wall French assets create the appearance that our gardens are fully enclosed. It reminds me so much of the many tourist attractions in Paris, places you stumble upon while walking down a street or alley and suddenly find a special spot in the city surrounded by neighborhood buildings filled with residents. We'll expand some surfaces and add others, giving the area some cohesion. I think cobblestone is our signature surface. With the Botanic Gardens in place and the initial blocks around them complete, I am quickly falling in love with this little part of the city. The only problem with our new gardens and all this growth is traffic. It continues to grow and the population is putting pressure on our bus system. Long bus lines will not make our citizens happy, nor make our routes efficient. Our purple route, which stops in front of the Botanic Garden, is running at 109% efficiency, which means it is overcrowded. The 24,000 citizens a month on our buses tell us we are doing something right, but we can help alleviate system stress by adding a new route around the 4th arrondissement, with a stop closer to the backside of the gardens. This route will connect with our 4th arrondissement bus station, pass in front of Notre Dame Cathedral, loop around our massive roundabout, and finally return to the stop behind the gardens. We've placed all nearside bus stops for this route, which means the stop is right before the intersection. In reality, Paris probably has more far-side stops, meaning it is right after the intersection. But since our city is fictional, it is okay for us to take creative liberty. Hopefully, this new route will alleviate the weight on our most crowded lines. Let's try to beautify some of these open areas, giving people waiting something better to look at or even enjoy. We can place a pocket park and then add our own custom cobblestone surface from the Real Vision pack. Since we don't have an Arc de Triomphe to place in the middle, for now we will settle for small parks placed close to the center as a way to attract tourists to the area. Maybe the small parks and shady trees will also encourage more pedestrians and make this feel like a walkable city. Let's place mixed-use buildings on the road that runs into the garden, offering places for shopping and dining nearby. A block away on our small alleys, we will place more medium-density residential, leaving the shops for noisier streets. We're making great progress surrounding our Botanic gardens, creating the impression that it is perfectly nestled into the neighborhood. But building so quickly as we are doing here continues to strain our roads and our bus network. Some intersections can be optimized using the traffic tool if we remove U-turns, unsafe turns, and complicated left-hand turns from the side parking lanes. Recreating the beautiful grand boulevards of Paris with local side parking lanes feels realistic, but it has an added complexity for the traffic AI. Hopefully, some of these minor tweaks will help manage the flow of vehicles as traffic continues to increase. When I started this experiment trying to create L'Etoile, I really had just a few goals in mind. First, I wanted the massive central roundabout with its 12 radiating boulevards to be instantly recognizable. Second, I wanted the boulevards to feel typically Parisian, many with smaller outer parking lanes divided by tree-lined medians. Third, I wanted the overall density of the city to feel like Paris, with densely packed neighborhoods of Haussmann-style architecture. What I did not realize was that the boulevard part of this plan would create so many challenges. While the Road Builder mod opened up opportunities for creating these grand boulevards, many cars and trucks always want to take the outer, slower parking lanes rather than the faster middle lanes. And when two boulevards intersect, the number of possible turning options significantly increases. Managing these complications with the traffic tool and limiting which lanes connect where seems like the best possible alternative to help keep vehicles flowing. For traffic, we are addressing congestion issues one intersection, one boulevard, or one bus route at a time. It's like a game of whack-a-mole. We continue to build and add to the density of our city, and then address a new traffic issue once it emerges, hoping that the problem is not more systemic. We also want to be cautious that we are responding to real problems that emerge, such as during rush hour, and not temporary backups caused by citizens moving to the city. And now we can put on the finishing touches, including cobblestone surfaces to close the gaps, adding trees to courtyards, and enhancing the medians on our boulevards. Over the past 4 episodes, we've built some special neighborhoods in Ile-de-Carrefour. But as we complete this district, I have to say, it's truly one of my favorites. It's time to tackle something completely different and absolutely essential. We're moving across the arrondissement, where we'll lay out a brand new road network and place a signature hospital that's more than just a city service. This is going to be a true centerpiece, an iconic campus that will set the tone for everything around it. To start, let's shift the orientation of the hospital, moving it off the busy boulevard. Since we know the intersections crossing our boulevards can create traffic challenges, let's try to tweak them in advance before we start plopping buildings. I love how the outer parking lanes look, but they are a nightmare to manage. Limiting their turning options makes a huge difference. Using the Traffic Lights Enhancement mod is a critical feature for keeping these roads working. Adding split phasing so each direction has its own turn improves the flow, and an exclusive pedestrian phase is essential to avoid traffic jams given the number of pedestrians in the city. With these adjustments in place, we can now try to add new buildings. To ensure we meet all needs, we will continue to include a low-rent residential building here and there. This provides housing for low-income residents and helps fulfill some of our high-density demand. A few of these blocks are neatly rectangular, something that is a bit unusual for our city layout. We are definitely not building a grid city, so it's strange when one of these rectangular blocks appears within a district. It almost makes the rectangular block stand out as more distinctive. Widening this avenue from our central star will facilitate ease of access to the hospital from all sides. Again, let's add more trees to the central roundabout blocks. Let's not wait to add trees to this boulevard. Our population is still rapidly growing, and we will continue to fill in the blocks around this hospital. As an urban hospital in a very old city, we should not be surprised that it fits snugly among the buildings, just like our Botanic Gardens and our Notre Dame Cathedral. The common theme here is that, as an old city, many of our notable landmarks do not sit isolated. Instead, they seem to emerge from the medieval streets, appearing as if they were awkwardly placed among the buildings, rather than as if space was intentionally made for them. I think this is key for creating an older European city. Whether in London, Berlin, Rome, or Paris, the cities have history that surrounds landmark buildings. Of course, some of them will still have their Eiffel Towers, where huge tracts of land have been cleared to create grand views and promenades. But I really love the older parts, where everything is all just smushed together, like the Pantheon in Rome, which you suddenly stumble upon as you walk around a corner of a narrow street. There are plenty of exceptions to this idea, but it is certainly a standout feature of many older European cities. In the US, most notable landmarks are much newer and seem to have everything around them cleared for large plazas and parking. Boston is one of those old US cities that feels more European, especially as you wander around the North End and suddenly find Old North Church or Paul Revere's house. There are lots of ways to create something in Cities Skylines 2 that feels old. For me, this is just one of them. That and our winding narrow streets and our many, many cobblestone surfaces. My Dean's Challenge for you, class: how do you make your cities feel old? Or do you prefer to build something modern? Our fourth arrondissement is filling in very nicely, and the area around the hospital is becoming a focal point. My only concern is that as traffic increases, that the small parking roads around the hospital become backed up. As we've seen previously, when we put together all these buildings using Anarchy and Move It, we get overlapping fences and hedges in the backyard. It remains important for us to delete some or all of these. Once we do, I love the look of using mown grass to fill in the opening. I have no idea what is typical in Paris blocks, but for our fictional city, I think it looks great. We will also continue to remove small mismatched patches of pavement, some filling an area and others not, in order to add our unifying cobblestone. With the fourth arrondissement complete, we can step back to see what we've done. The French hospital looks absolutely grand. It also helps this part of the district look distinct from every other one we have built so far. Our next assignment is unlike anything we've tackled before. We will create a stunning boulevard right through the heart of the 5th arrondissement. As you can see, the 5th district is a blank canvas. Let's add some roads to help us decide where to place our first buildings. Adding internal park paths will also be helpful at this stage. We can observe where the paths will connect to the outer roads and intersections. The paths here will be winding, allowing residents to enjoy a relaxing walk, but we will also include many connection points in case they want to reach a specific destination. We will make these pathways works of art, designed both for function and to enhance the neighborhood's beauty. The goal is for someone to see this and feel drawn to the elegance and charm of the park. Although it is technically a boulevard, we want pedestrians to feel relaxed and not surrounded by traffic. Let's add a green grass surface beneath the paths to unify the entire length. We can then remove the current large trees to help us prepare for the final design. To define the boulevard, we will line it with large, impressive residential buildings using French medium-density assets. If we step back, you will see the distribution of parks and landmarks. Let's add a soccer field to the other side of our 5th arrondissement, surround it with one-way parking roads, and then develop the road network. You will notice that this is different from the other 11 boulevards that radiate out from our central roundabout. For all the others, we used mixed-use and office buildings on the large boulevards, keeping the noisiest buildings there due to heavier traffic. But for this special park boulevard, we want it to feel very different, lining it only with medium-density residential. Unfortunately, we are returning to the familiar problem we keep addressing: traffic. With each new area we develop, our population grows and more pressure is placed on our roads and bus system. We can see the visual data on the boulevards and the central roundabout. For example, the intersection leading to our new Park Boulevard is a mess. Implementing some traffic light changes and lane management will be helpful here, as well as at the nearby intersection. There are too many turning options from the side parking lanes. We should remove unnecessary crosswalks in high pedestrian traffic areas that already have many crossing options. In fact, we can clean up this entire area by decreasing the number of crosswalks around the outer circle. This will help keep traffic moving smoothly because cars will face fewer obstacles when they turn. For some of our smaller side alleys, let's limit their turning options where they intersect a very wide boulevard. Now that I'm looking at the inner circle, I think we can also eliminate crosswalks here. Without an Arc de Triomphe in the middle, there's no reason for pedestrians to walk all the way inside and slow down turning traffic. In a few spots, we can add an extra lane with an asymmetrical road to better manage the volume. We just need to ensure that the traffic lights are properly configured, that each lane maintains the correct flow, and that traffic entering the roundabout has the right-of-way to match the real-life L'Etoile. Every time we upgrade a road, this process needs to be repeated as it resets the default options. I'm not entirely sure why we initially built so many of these two-lane roads, but as our population grows, expanding the roads seems very necessary. More asymmetrical upgrades seem appropriate given the volume. I can already see that traffic is moving much more smoothly, but we need to continue monitoring it. While we are here in the roundabout, let's detail a few more of the open spots with more pocket parks. Each time we add a small park to the backside of these buildings, I feel that the roundabout looks a little more complete. Our cobblestone surface connects the spaces between buildings and roads, helping it unify the block. We just need to ensure that we adjust the surface to close any small gaps. Let's plant some trees here and there, making the streets shady for our pedestrians. We can remove the extra crosswalk we accidentally added to the Park Boulevard. It also seems that traffic slows down where the roads merge, so let's do some manual lane adjustment. These are all wonderful small fixes, but our purple bus line is way over capacity. This one stop near the roundabout has 392 waiting passengers. We will add 2 extra buses to this line and then evaluate once they've had a chance to work through the route. With these updates, Let's see how the road network handles our ongoing population growth. The goal all along has been to create this system with a massive roundabout at the center and then see how much traffic it can manage. So far, we have been able to resolve most issues as they come up by adjusting road sizes, tweaking which lanes turn where with the traffic mod, or customizing intersections with the traffic light enhancement mod. We have also built a very strong bus network. Many of you have asked in the comments for a metro system, which would definitely make this a true Parisian-themed city. The problem with the subways in Cities Skylines 2 right now is that I can't do what I want with them. I need crossing tracks at different angles, and varying depths. The current subway stops seem more suited for a grid network, rather than an old, winding street system like ours. However, I am open to the idea. But first, if we continue the series, I would like to complete a special project. I was thinking of trying to build something like the Louvre Museum campus. I haven't quite figured out how I would do it, but I have a few ideas. Alternatively, we could try to build out the island in the middle of the river. This is the island which gives the city its name, Ile de Carrefour. So let me know in the comments if you have a preference, whether the Louvre or the island. I will build whichever gets the most comments. For now, let's continue our rapid building boom, creating multiple residential blocks up and down the Boulevard Park. We can continue with the details, adding cobblestone around the edges and filling the middle of blocks between buildings with grass. This block can also be broken up with a small cul-de-sac, creating a little private residential community. Part of what I like about this entire area is that the blocks mostly revolve around the Boulevard Park. They are long and somewhat narrow, stretching through the middle of the arrondissement, clearly emphasizing that the boulevard is the defining feature of the district. The blocks are now filled in, and the boulevard looks incredible. Let's keep going. We should give the entire boulevard a makeover to make it truly stand out from any other park in the city. We don't want this to be a completely formal French garden. This park will have a slightly wilder feel, a place where someone can wander and get lost, but we still want it to feel French. For that look, it should still have a slight hint of symmetry, as if it has a central axis that divides the two sides. Let's now mix the wild with the formal, planting flowers closely together, following along all the little paths. This is, at least, my interpretation of the formal garden meets the wild park. I hope it's not too controversial, but let me know if you have suggestions for it. Another aspect of French gardens and parks is designated areas for activities. To address this, we will use some of our small pocket parks along the edge, adding benches and tables, or perhaps a spot for people to play chess. The goal is for it all to come together as one seamless park, so we will remove the surface beneath the pocket parks and ensure the grass area completely covers the space. Now, we just need to repeat these steps all along the boulevard. Adding all the little flowers is the most time-consuming part, but I think the effort is worth it to make this area unique and beautiful. Once we finish one side, we can move on to the other. We will follow the exact same steps, adding various pocket parks along the way. I like that this has a real in-game impact, as the many different parks will meet the leisure needs of our citizens and attract pedestrians to the boulevard. I'm imagining families strolling here on weekends, kids running along the paths, or students from the nearby university finding a quiet spot to read. To encourage these activities, we want to make sure there are plenty of benches and shaded spots, something that gives the boulevard its own identity and makes it memorable. Once all these details are in place, I think the boulevard will be a highlight of the city. As it turns out, we still have a few empty spots remaining in the blocks of our roundabout. Just like our Boulevard Park, we have been using small pocket parks in this area to fill in the little spaces and create places that attract residents and tourists. These are the kind of spaces you can temporarily use for escape from the busyness of the city center. We've mostly used cobblestone to fill in the surface area, but for these, let's mix in some grass. The softness of the grass provides a nice contrast, highlighting that many of these buildings house residents. The grass also gives us easy places for planting more trees. We've aimed to make each of these small spaces behind the buildings memorable in some way, enhancing the appearance of our central roundabout and giving people a reason to walk here. I think we can say we've completed our task successfully, at least for now. I'm sure we will find some other detail to add as we continue to expand. And we definitely have more to build. Let's continue with the 5th arrondissement. The Boulevard Park is the centerpiece, but we want to fill in all the remaining blocks and really push our population up. We are almost to 100,000. That feels like a significant milestone to reach. Of course, the growth is once again straining our streets. Pressing onward, we will add more office buildings and mixed-use residential and commercial. Each little block presents a new opportunity to create an eye-catching streetscape. The purple bus line is unrelenting, with 291 waiting at one stop and 272 at this one. Let's add another bus to the line. We should also expand our school capacity since we do not have nearly enough for our eligible students. 2 new schools will help us get there. And there we go, we've crossed the 100,000 mark. Unfortunately, our bus logjam has turned into a full-blown accident situation. Look at all those ambulances. It looks like the bus just plowed up onto the street. 27 lives lost according to the event journal. It looks like the Valentine Day massacre. This is all just a symptom of the state of our roads and the traffic. But that will not slow us down. Let's keep going. As we fill in each new block, we will remove unnecessary and overlapping fences, fill the inside with mown grass, and add our cobblestone along the sidewalks. This tiny, oddly shaped block is so narrow. It will be tricky to fill it in. We'll approach it a bit differently by adding the orange-roofed buildings along the back, which helps highlight the block's distinctiveness. I am really in love with the tiny inner courtyard. It looks like the perfect relaxing spot for the residents who live here. Continuing on, we will move towards our other open blocks. For some of the wider ones, we can fill them using the very deep buildings, some of which are 4, 5, or even 6 units deep. They fill a block fast. The easy parts are the long, straight stretches along these boulevards. By contrast, the sharp corners, weird angles, and spots around small roundabouts are much more challenging for us to complete. I found that sometimes it just takes a lot of patience and using the movement mod to get it exactly right. These tricky spots also create many more opportunities for us to place the cobblestone surface. Using Move It will never get everything perfectly aligned, and I think that's okay. The small leftover spots are fun to fill and provide plenty of space to add trees. I've heard that Paris keeps an official inventory of their street trees, though I'm not sure if that's true. In the news, it has been reported that Paris plans to replace over 60,000 parking spots with trees in the coming years, expanding their overall tree canopy and helping to cool the city. It would be great if we could cool our own fictional French city, but we are continuing to struggle with traffic in spots. Looking at our wide boulevards, let's again fix intersections where our local parking lanes on the side have too many turning options. Where small alleys intersect a boulevard, we will continue to make lane adjustments, avoid turns across traffic, and use the Move It mod to spread the nodes apart. Now, the only thing I wish I could fix is keeping through traffic out of the local side lanes. It would be nice if I had a way to set a slower speed limit for the side lanes to help incentivize drivers to stay in the middle. We have only 6 more blocks to fill in. I really like this area near the soccer field. Our French city doesn't have many open spaces given the overall density, so this field particularly stands out. Most of our other open spaces are clearly defined parks with more formality. In contrast, the soccer field feels informal and modern. It's just one spot, but I think it mixes things up very nicely. We certainly have no shortage of leisure venues for our citizens, including the small parks scattered around different neighborhoods, the large formal gardens near our city hall, the Botanic Gardens, Notre Dame Cathedral, and now our soccer field. If we continue this series, we will need to think about some other unique leisure activity we can provide. We're down to 3 large blocks remaining. They are quite deep, so we will use some of our deeper buildings again. As I near the end of this area, I feel nostalgic. I began working on this experiment in November 2024. All the footage for the first several videos of the series was captured then. I finished all the footage for this episode in January 2025, and I am only editing it now in August. But I'm truly glad I didn't give up on the project. I love seeing it all come together, even if I would do it differently than I did 8 months ago. What has truly kept me going is your support and your comments. Let's make sure we fill all these remaining empty spaces. We are nearing the end of this arrondissement, so every last one of them feels important. We will soon have completed each of the districts that surround the roundabout. This is the very last block, and so these are the very last buildings we will need to place. But of course, we are not quite finished, so hang in there with me until we get to the very end. I can hardly believe what we've created. As you know, we don't have an Arc de Triomphe for the middle of our massive roundabout. For me, that would be the icing on the cake. But I also don't want to leave it empty. Filling in with some dirty surfaces and then covering them with bushes feels as appropriate as anything for the moment. Any other building just wouldn't look right. Now is the time for commentary. So class, I'm opening it up to you for your feedback. Feel free to be honest and brutal. I can take it. It has been a labor of love, but there are many things I would also change. I love the way our central roundabout flows, and we even fixed the lanes so that the yield rules mirror real life. But it still doesn't always quite work the way I want it to. At times the traffic is heavy, but then other times the cars seem to go to the outer local parking lanes, leaving the middle empty. And the parking lanes add their own headaches for turning cars and traffic lights. I suppose I will always find something to pick apart. I am my own harshest critic. But honestly, stepping back, I just love the way this turned out. I think it is really beautiful, and it shows just what an incredible game Cities Skylines 2 is. I know it's only going to get better. For those of you following along, thank you from the bottom of my heart for your support. If you enjoyed the build or the entire series, I hope you subscribe and like. It will help others find my content.